and welcome to our webinar. My name is Andrea. I am very glad to be able to have you participate in our monthly webinars. Minoria is a company that's consistently looking to help disadvantaged businesses prepare for contracting opportunities, and we specialize in the construction industry. Therefore, we provide these monthly webinars free of cost to assist and help any of the contractors that might be going through some issues, difficulties, and we try and provide as many solutions as possible. So today's topic is going to be a very hot topic for a lot of contractors, and it sometimes can be very confusing when you're starting to develop and identify that it might be a good idea to go to the next level and start taking on public projects. So this webinar is in regards of prevailing wage rates, and we're going to help you understand why there are prevailing wages within the public works projects and how to be in compliance. So just as a review of our webinar, we're going to cover labor laws and its origins, steps a contractor needs to take to bid on prevailing wage projects, and once you are awarded, we're going to be talking about how to understand and the requirements we need to be in compliance. And before we officially start our webinar, I also would like to mention some of the communication factors we need to have in our webinar. There's going to be a space or a time factored for the questions and answers. It's going to be towards the end of the webinar. If you feel like there's a slide that you need to mention or a topic, please reserve your questions until the end of the webinar. But you are welcome to write them down on the questions and answers. Once I'm finished with the webinar, I'll make sure to go and review them and address them as much as possible. Okay. Other than that, I think we're ready to start our webinar. So let's learn about labor law. In 1866, prevailing wages were officially brought in by the National Labor Union a little shortly after the Civil War. Approximately 35 years later, the state of Kansas officially passed the prevailing wage regulation for public work projects in 1891. And after that, there are around 30 years after, there were 7 states that participated, and little by little, the other states started to participate on the concept of prevailing wage. Now, when these situations or the labor situations initiated, there were not only labor factors that they needed to address, but there were also health factors, safety factors. So the United States Department of Labor got involved, and now they're the regulators that establish all the requirements for any type of federal government project and the federal government funded projects. So they regulate anything that has to do with labor compliance, safety, and health. And as you can see in this picture, this picture was obviously before those implementations were set of, especially the safety factor. You can look at it. So now, prevailing wage requirements in the state of California are very specific and sometimes do differ from other states. So it's important to go into the main website. And just to let you know, all these links are going to be, these slides are going to be provided to all the registrants. So you can also be rest assured that we are going to send over and email you the presentation with the hyperlinked yeah, the presentation that's hyperlinked and you can connect with the website. Okay, so right now, to be able to get information for the California standards, you have to go through the DIR, the Department of Industrial Relations website. And to understand why or what we need to do, we would need to identify two factors um, before you consider going into the public works arena and starting the prevailing wage factor requirements. One is making sure that you know what projects consist of prevailing wage requirements, which in this case, most public work projects are consistent of the compliance of prevailing wage. And in post-construction, any alterations, demolitions, installations, anything like that, consistent of any type of construction, regardless of the size, up to projects that are around 30,000. Now, in regards of the $30,000 projects, if you have any projects below that, you still are, in regards of the threshold, you still are expected for you to include prevailing wage reports and abide by the labor compliance regulations. If you have projects that are in the construction industry and they are below or they are over 25,000. So anything below 25,000 within construction industry, because there's other areas where public projects and prevailing wage abide by, and the usual and typical threshold is $1,000. But within the construction industry, you can still work on projects that are under $25,000 and not necessarily have to abide by the prevailing wage requirements. Now, if there are projects that have to do with any alterations, demolitions, repairs, and maintenance work, then you would need to, the threshold for that is 15,000. So anything below 15,000 is most likely not suitable for, or you don't have to be in what's required for prevailing wage reporting. Now, the steps a contractor needs to take whenever you're trying to bid for a project. We're going to go step by step. Every link is, or I provided links for you to go through the steps, and I'm pretty much walking you through the process once you identify that you want to do business with, and you want to go into that level of public works. Now, the first step is to really consider and evaluate if your company has the qualifications, has the history, capacity, or performance, and your team has the capacity to engage in these type of projects. So I highly recommend, we obviously do these webinars monthly, and all these monthly webinars are related to construction. And we have two websites, or not websites, two videos, YouTube videos, that I highly recommend you to review before making a decision of participating and registering for the public work projects. So one of the webinars, prior webinars we've had is to stay focused and get your company to be strategic for any type of bid opportunities. That's a really good one. Sort of helps you evaluate if you really do need to work with a certain entity or not. And then bid opportunities, best practices that will get you awarded. That also helps you identify and filter out if if these projects are suitable for your company. Now, the second step is to create an account through the department, the DIR, and carefully read through the trade labor, depending on what trade you are in, carefully read through their compliance requirements before registering. So there's a lot of situations that sometimes there's contractors that are really excited about bidding on a project that maybe a prime contractor offers, and they really don't go through the bid proposal where they stipulate that this opportunity is suitable and there's prevailing wage factors that need to be included on the project. Now, you might be a subcontractor that feels that they don't need to abide by it, but in most cases, you have to abide by the prevailing wage factors when you do a bid, even as a subcontractor. So I highly recommend you to get educated, go through the website, get as much information, especially when it comes to your trades. I know for a fact that electricians have additional requirements, roofers have additional requirements. So go through and analyze your responsibilities if you're considering getting registered, because once you're registered, you have to abide by that regulation, or you're going to get penalized, and that's going to be very costly. Now, the third step is to register and get registered. You need to get registered before even looking at a bid proposal. There are penalties if you end up bidding on a bid proposal, and then after they get awarded, you get you get included on the contract. Even if it shows on your bid proposal or on the prime bid proposal that you were a company that submitted a proposal and you're considered trade contractor that's going to be working as a subcontractor, they are going to go and they, once your name is in the bid proposal, they can do it or they can't, but you never know. They might be investigating you to see if you're legitimately registered through the Department of Industrial Relations. Okay, so be just very careful on that. Now, some of the contractors' requirements in order for you to register is that you need to be you need to have workers' comp coverage for all all your employees, and like I mentioned, subcontractors who are registered or any subcontractors need to be registered within the Public Works registration portal. So this is one of the requirements. So subcontractors, trade contractors, make sure to abide by this regulation as well. You have to have your state license, your contractor's license. You can't be delinquent or owe any type of penalties or unpaid wages to any employees or enforcement agencies. You can't be under a federal, state, or any type of federal or state department, and you can't show that there are prior violations upon registering as a contractor for public works. Now, in this situation, even though there is a penalty, let's say you submit a proposal and your company gets awarded, or the large prime gets awarded. If they get awarded, and let's say for some reason the DIR found out that you were not registered, they are going to penalize you, but they are going to also give they're going to give you a chance to be able to participate and continue the registration process. It's sort of like a slap in the hand for not really, doing your homework. So that's the only exception that you will do in order for you to be qualifying as a contractor to get registered as a DIR. And anything, any registration fees that you want to know about, the process of and getting the application submitted, or any additional information you want to know about, here is the link that you can go back and refer to. Now, the third step is identifying a bid project. So let's say you already submitted your application. Once you submit your application and you pay your fee, you should be able to receive a DIR number. Within that DIR number, you on the bid proposal, they'll request it, or sometimes, depending on the agency, they'll request it after you're awarded or your company is identified as an awarded company. So in most cases, you got to make sure that whenever you submit your bid proposal, you include that DIR number, and take in consideration all the DIR prevailing wage determinations that are in their website portal. And I have an image just like this. This is what you're going to see. And then you go through all these links. And it depends if you have a journeyman, if you have an apprentice. You go through all this, and this should be updated according to the time that you're submitting your proposal. And once you click, you'll have a chart of the hourly rate, any type of overtime rate, and then of course all the fees that you're supposed to include for any of the benefits, right? So if you have any questions about this, feel free to connect with us. But I'm also going to provide additional resources for you to make sure that you're doing it the correct way whenever you're doing a bid proposal or submitting a bid proposal. And then if in case there's sometimes there's contractors that, let's say they had years that they are not going into this public works arena, but they remember they registered, right? So if you want to really be able to look up a contractor, there's a website here, and you can identify if maybe you do have a DIR number. There's also, large contractors, or if you're a prime and you're considering a subcontractor, there's a way of being able to search to see if they are in compliance. Now, if in case you are awarded, what's next, right? What do you need to make sure that you are in compliance and you don't fall into the category of not being in compliance and be subject to any type of penalties? So first of all, it's very important to carefully read the bid solicitation under labor compliance according to the agency. Identify the area where it stipulates the labor compliance, because usually they'll have a department email, contact, and a contact number. You really want to have those available as soon as you can, even before you submit the proposal, just to make sure that you are including everything you need to include on the proposal, and you know what the requirements are. And once you know, you can identify if your team is going to be able to abide by those requirements. There's also, and there's typically kickoff meetings once you're awarded. Those kickoff meetings, you're going to have everybody, labor compliance, you're going to have the project manager, you're going to have a lot of representatives that are there to assist you and help you, and they're going to explain what they're going to need from you. They're going to give you a lot of instructions. So once they provide those instructions, you really want to be ready for any type of questions you might have, and you'll get them answered right then and there, or make sure to get all their contact information to be able to have it ready and able for whenever you do have any questions. Now, in regards of the certified payroll compliance, okay, there's different items or steps you really need to take whenever it's time for you to process payroll. And on that kickoff meeting, they'll give you a lot of information on what you need to do, and if the agency actually uses a tracker. There's a software that's called that LCP tracker that's very typical within the public works type projects. And that one allows you to be able to upload all your certified payroll. Now, in most cases, you're going to have to go through the website and either upload the certified payroll or enroll online to submit your payrolls. And of course, the LCP tracker, whenever the large prime contractor or the agency that you got awarded from is ready to initiate the project or start the project, they're going to send you an invitation to start your portal on the LCP tracker. And within that, there's a lot of the software has a lot of resources and assistance. There's even an academy for you to understand how to submit payrolls. And that's where I have the links for that. Any additional resources. So in regards of any bid proposal or evaluation, or you want to be able to identify if it's worth doing bidding on a project, I highly recommend you to connect with PTech. PTech is there for you to help you with any bid preparation free of cost. And they're also there to counsel you and give you some information in order for you to scale up and be prepared for these type of projects. Now, in regards of certified payroll and labor compliance, like I mentioned, LCP Tracker has an academy that I highly encourage you to participate in. And then there's also a few YouTube videos I'm recommending that explain in detail what you need to do to be able to submit payroll, be in compliance with any type of labor requirements that are there. So hopefully those links are going to help you get through your journey on your first project and on your first bid proposal. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Like I mentioned, we are always available in case you have any questions. My name is Andrea. We have 2 locations, one in Cerritos, one in Commerce. We also have these monthly webinars, and we store them on our YouTube channel. So make sure to go into our YouTube and like it so you can be having all these, have a library, access to the library of our webinars. And we also do mini clips to solve certain things, submitting payroll, for example, or making sure that you register, how to register for the Department of Industrial Relations, or any situation like that. So make sure to like us. We also are, we do assessments, free assessments to help your company thrive and go to the next level. These are free of charge. And on these assessments, we provide free resources. We provide recommended construction niche professionals that you need to build relationships in order for you to be ready to go into larger contracts. We also have a list of organizations we recommend you to participate to capture opportunities and do business with entities that you might want to work with. And of course, identify any solutions that you might need within your company to be more efficient, automated, and systemized. So that's it. Now let me stop share real quick and try and get all the questions addressed if there's any. Is there any questions for right now? Okay. I think there isn't any questions. Like I mentioned, if you forgot or once we're out of the webinar, you remember, one, feel free to connect, and we are going to send our webinar. What is it? I guess it's a PDF version hyperlinked webinar preview for you to be able to have all those resources available for you and go back to it. Hey guys, thank you very much. Thank you for participating, and we'll see you next month. Bye.